had a weird experience when I was 6 or 7. Get bus with mother and brother often because no car. Brother is 6 years older, and we couldn't be more different. He's very roguish and uncontrollable, while I'm the opposite. That being said, he's still my older brother and therefore a role model and someone I emulate, or try to. He has this habit of sitting inside the luggage rack, particularly if there aren't any seats available. Pick is the closest I can find. It's that opening under the stairs. Obviously not allowed in there because it's for luggage. He gets told off every time he does it, but he doesn't care. Get on the bus this one morning with my mother and without my brother. Awful day. Cold, raining, dull as fuck. Typical British weather. No seats, bus is packed, and I have to stand. Only being young and therefore short, everyone's damp coats are pressing against my cute little face. Feels horrible. Fuck this. I'm going to chat it up in the luggage rack. Climb in the luggage rack. This is a mistake. Severely claustrophobic and already lots of wet bags in there. If anything, this is more uncomfortable. People start throwing more bags in and now I feel like I can't get out. Stuck in the corner behind the driver's seat. Get this sensation like I'm falling and there's a light behind me. Grab onto what I can to stop falling. Looking over my shoulder, it's hard to describe this part. It's like I'm looking down on a nice, sunny, bustling town, but no one there can see me. Realize I'm not falling, it's more like I'm being sucked into a hole and into this sunny, inviting town. Next thing I know, someone has hold of my arm and pulls me from the luggage rack. It's the bus driver. Bus has stopped. My mother is crying because she couldn't find me. Everyone is staring at me like when Kevin McAllister f***s up the kitchen in Home Alone. Get told off by both the bus driver and my mother. Were looking for me for a good 15 minutes. I couldn't have been in the luggage rack for more than a minute or two. Be Grandpa. Sometime around the 1940s, I think. Deep south. Wild country bumpkins as far as the eye can see. There's a huge tree just north of Grandpa's hometown. A local legend claims the tree is haunted by a large man on a black horse. People have been said to make pacts with it. Others leave little offerings, hoping to gain favor from the tall man. Grandpa decides to make a deal with the evil spirit one day. Not gonna go into detail, but Grandpa was an orphan and his life was really rough. So Grandpa goes to the tree. A man on a horse steps out of it, almost like the tree was liquid instead of solid. Just sounds like Sleepy Hollow. The man is huge, and his face looks all puffy and blue like when someone drowns. Grandpa tells his story to the man. How he's starving and can't find work and has no money. How he's lonely and wishes he had a family of his own. So, the man on the horse tells Grandpa to travel to a neighboring town. He'll meet a woman there with lots of money. They'll fall in love and get married, and with her money, they'll be able to buy a farm. The farm will earn them a decent living, and it will stay in the family, but that 2 of his sons will leave for the city and go on to become educated men. Grandpa will live to see them prosper and become important people, but there's one thing he needs to do. There's a cave outside of town that belongs to the man on the horse. Grandpa needs to stop there on his way to the next town. He needs to write his name on the cave wall in his own blood. Then, everything will happen just like the man on the horse said. Grandpa thanks him and leaves for the neighboring town. On the way, he finds the cave the man told him about. He goes inside and finds the walls covered in names written in blood. Grandpa pricks his finger and signs the wall as well, and then he leaves. Long story short, Grandpa met my grandmother, whose family was really wealthy. She and Grandpa bought a farm, made a good deal of money, and raised my dad and his brothers. Several years before I was born, Grandpa woke up to find the man on the horse standing by his bed. No horse. The man told Grandpa that he would soon be a grandfather, and that his grandsons would prosper, just like he promised. But, in the 35th year of his life, the youngest boy will be mine. Then he slowly faded away. I'm the youngest of my dad's sons, by the way. Grandpa used to tell me this story and chuckle. He'd say there was nothing to worry about. He'd remind me that the name he signed on the cave wall wasn't his real name. After he'd been orphaned, one of the families in his hometown took him in for a bit. The name they'd given him was the name he'd written on the wall. "So I'm sure you have nothing to worry about." Then he'd pretend to look confused and ask, "How old are you now?" I'd tell him, and he'd nod very dramatically and say, yes, I'm sure you'll be fine." I know this was just a bedtime story my grandpa made up to scare me, but man, could the old man spin a yarn. I'm 25 now, and it still kind of spooks me to imagine that he was telling the truth. I'll see if I can dig up some photos of the time I visited his farm and hometown. Don't have a scanner, so shit quality, but this enormous tree near my grandpa's farm is the exact same type of tree from his story, according to him. Terrible perspective because I was 13 when I took this, but it was much taller than a house, and you couldn't even wrap your arms halfway around the trunk. One more, just to give you a sense of how rustic the area is. Here's a short tunnel that we took between the farm and the town over. Grandpa said this thing was here when he was a kid. Sick one day when I was like 4. Mother goes to chemist to pick up my prescription, gives name and address or whatever, has quick check of it, takes me home, opens prescription at home, and it's something I'm allergic to. Checks patient deets on it. Same name, same date of birth, except the year is 1 out. Address is very similar. Not going to post my real address, but it was like 56 Adam Street and 56 Adem Street. Has to take prescription back. This happens on and off for years, with my prescription getting mixed up with my imposter's, or I'm his imposter, as he was a year older than me. When I was 11, I went to secondary school. Line up for meme tickets. What does that mean? You just have to give them your name and date of birth, and then they cross you off the list. Do that. Start getting berated by the teacher for trying to trick them into giving me extra tickets. This is the first time I've seen you. You were here 5 minutes ago. Shows me my list with my name crossed out. Point out the birth year is 1 out. Realize he's in the same fucking school as me. Random people come up to me mistaking me for him, not just because of the name, but because we look so similar. Teachers ask me all the time if we're related. Despite being in the same school as him for 4 years, and only living maybe 10 minutes apart, I never once see him. Forget about it after that. When I was about 20, I went to the chemist myself to pick up a prescription. Give name and address. Didn't I just give it to you? No. Pharmacist mentions that it's an odd coincidence that me and the imposter were there at the same time. She looks out the window. Look out too. See him walking past. He's absolutely identical to me in every way. Never see him again after that. Such a weird experience. I shared Pic Related a while ago and just went through the archives to find it so this post will make more sense. Somehow, the doppelganger has returned. It's only short, but it's confirmation he's out there after years of radio silence. Bump into an old GF a few weeks back. Start talking to her. She's waiting on her friend coming out of a shop. We all went to school together, so we know each other pretty well, especially me and ex-GF, obviously. Her friend joins us. Say hello. Looks at me like I'm not there and tells ex-GF she's forgotten something and goes back into the shop. Ask ex-GF what her problem is. She said it's me that has a problem with her. I don't have a problem with her. Need her to explain. She does. Tells me that about a month earlier, her friend was in a tattooist's and I was there. She said hello to me, and I looked at her like she was a complete stranger. Then she started trying to make conversation with me and reminisce on old times. I confirmed I went to that school, but I don't know who she is, which massively pissed her off. Of course, me giving my name to the tattooist for the booking was all the confirmation she needed that I was just being a bad boy. Tell ex-GF it wasn't me. X is skeptical, mainly because she was with her friend and her friend's BF waiting in the car for her across the road, and they both saw me leave. Forced her to call her friend's BF because I know him from school. Ask him if he saw me. Says he did. Wants to know what my issue with his GF is. He's never going to leave me, is he, bros? I almost appreciate that was like a tame story and nothing crazy happened because it actually makes it sound sort of believable, but at that point of being adults, and especially since the one girl was his ex, wouldn't he have talked about that whole situation with her? I definitely would have. I would definitely bring up all the time, hey, there's a guy who lives right next to me who looks just like me and has the same name. I would definitely be talking about that. Everyone in my life would know about that, and maybe I would use it as a cop-out here and there. I was a first-hand witness for a murder that was completely and entirely covered up and silenced in Barber County, West Virginia. Living in Bellington, small town, August 1993. Working at the Laurel Mountain Inn. Inn is about to close. It's an hour until my shift ends. 3 guys come in, out-of-towners. Immediately recognize them as not from these parts due to their accents. 2 of them order, the other one hovers around them, not taking a seat. Seems to be on something. Not my job to give a shit, just focus on cleaning dishes. Another guy walks in, open carrying a pistol. Now, at this point there are 6 customers inside. An elderly couple, the 3 out-of-towners, and the guy with the pistol. There's 3 workers inside. 2 are on break. I'm manning the counter now after having finished cleaning up. 3rd out-of-towner, the one who didn't sit down, casually strolls into the bathroom. Guy with the pistol unholsters it, shoots the other 2 guys. I'm completely shocked. Freeze up. Vividly remember this one detail. His gun did not make a single sound. Holsters it, casually strolls out with the two out-of-towners dead in their seat. Immediately snap out of it as soon as he's out of the door. Elderly couple seem to be in a trance at this point. Call the police. They get there very quickly, and they act really fucking weird around me as I'm telling my story. They seem not to believe me. Tell them about the third guy in the bathroom. They don't even go to investigate, but tell me there's no one in the bathroom. I'm feeling really fucking nervous at this point, like they're suspecting me. They take away the bodies. I go to use the bathroom myself and check for the third guy. Nowhere to be found. When I walk out, all of the blood is gone, and the elderly couple have left too without touching any of their food. I contacted the police again the next day to ask them about the situation because it didn't sit right with me. I was told by the operator of the non-emergency rather matter-of-factly that there were no records of a murder in the Laurel Mountain Inn. I didn't have work the next day, so I decided to call up one of my friends who worked just across the road at Midtown Motel and would have absolutely seen anyone enter. I asked him. He said he saw the three men enter and the guy with the pistol, but his account of events is fucking bizarre. He never saw the man with the pistol leave. He also said he could vaguely see the muzzle flash and thought he heard something loud from the inn. He said he also didn't see any police cars pull up, but two unmarked black Cadillacs that police officers stepped out of. Every single time I've tried to contact a newspaper with this story, or the police, I was turned down and addressed as a liar. It wasn't like they were merely skeptical. They addressed me flat out, as if I was making shit up and they knew it. They would never give any evidence that I was a liar if I tried to press them on it, and in general, everything about this is suspect to me. I could be a schizo, I don't know, but I know as a matter of fact I saw a guy outright shoot two people in the middle of the Laurel Mountain Inn. Here's a story that I've never shared before. It's not really paranormal, but it scares the living shit out of me. 17 years old, been smoking weed regularly with a couple of guys from college. I'm from the UK, we start college at 16. For a year now. One of the guys usually drives and we smoke up in this field that's deserted at night. Driver gets a call from someone. He starts freaking out, literally laying on the floor screaming down the phone. Never heard screaming like that before. It was fucking terrifying. He's not even making sense. He's like writhing around on the floor and screaming down on the phone. Starts doing this weird fucking laughing, all bug-eyed and weird. Calmly puts his phone in his pocket. Climbs very tall fence for a tennis court. Jumps off, lands on his neck, and fucking kills himself. Guy I hung around with every day for a year just ups and kills himself because of a phone call, and none of us know who it was on the other end. I wish I was making this up, but it fucked me up for a while afterwards. The other guy we were with started using ketamine regularly. We're both 21 now, and he's completely screwed in the head. I was on medication for a while afterwards, shitty citalopram, but came off it quickly. The police put it down to a stoned idiot climbing the fence. They interviewed us both once, and that was it. I never even heard from his family. They moved out of the county pretty quickly. I still have his younger brother on Facebook, though. I've buried the memory somewhere in my brain and just try to ignore it, but whenever my phone rings and I don't have the number saved, I always get a horrible feeling and I never answer. I'm not even explaining how fucking weird this guy was acting when he answered his phone. It was horrible. The fucking noises he was making were so fucking disgusting. I can't even try to explain it because it actually makes me feel physically sick. Okay, X, I've been wanting to tell you this for a while. For some background, I work in a petrol station located on the highway. Mostly night shifts, 3 p.m. to midnight, so I'm used to the weird, the creepy, and downright paranormal. But this? Normal shift, people coming and going. It's about 7. Things are dark and store is slowing down a bit. Behind the console area. Look to my left and lock eyes. Not that I could, mind you. With a woman? Frail, thin, elderly, with wrinkled skin and giant fly-eyed sunglasses on that cover half her face. Immediately get the jitters from her. She walks slowly to the door. I had to manually make it open to let her in as the auto doors didn't pick her up. Makes her way to the console. Stares at me. I can't really tell. She's still wearing those creepy sunnies.
Can you come outside and take a look at my car? I think something's wrong.
Voice is soft in volume, but deep and resonating. Like I felt it more than I heard it. Decline. Explain policy with leaving as only staff on site.
Okay then.
She walks off to the toilet. Serving other customers, stragglers here and there. She comes out of the bathroom after 5 minutes. Walks over to me again.
There's no toilet paper. Could you get me some?
Alarm bells. Something in my head says not to go out there. Get some staff toilet paper from behind console. Here you go, ma'am. Her demeanor is sour, or as far as I can tell, with those fucking sunnies.
Okay.
She walks back into the toilet. About another 5 minutes, she walks back out and wanders around the shop. I watch her and notice she flicks her head in my direction every now and then, like scanning me. She walks to the coffee machine, then calls out to me. Her voice is louder this time, but it feels more like a knife this time, shrill and freezing.
There's no milk in here. Can you replace it? I'd like a coffee.
I know I should do it, but fuck, something is fucking up alarm in my body and brain was screaming not to. Decline and say I can't leave the console at this hour of the night. She gets visibly annoyed, saying how shitty my customer service is. She threatens to contact my manager if I don't come out and change the milk. Decline and apologize, even offer manager's number. She tries 3 more times to get me out over the next 20 minutes. Finally gives up and walks off, glaring at me through the windows as she rounds the shop out of sight. Rest of the shift goes by without a hitch. No creepy things, surprisingly mellow and normal shift. Still have sense of dread in my stomach though. Swap over and leave at 12:30 a.m. Walking to my car about 50 meters away in the parking lot. As I get closer, I see the fucking glasses, scarf, and gloves she was wearing are folded neatly, the glasses resting on top in a pile on the ground by my driver's side door. Look around, sense of dread intensifying. Quick as a flash, I unlock my car, jump in, and lock it again. No time to relax. Start car and gun it out of there. Never been so fearful in my life. That sense of dread never left. I got home and needed a few drinks before I could loosen up enough to even consider sleep. Not scary, but it spooked me. Pick is just to save me explaining the main layout. Get in touch with old friend I haven't seen for a year or so. We were 19-ish, and she just got a new flat with her son. Son is like 6 months old. Invites me over, shows me around, has this massive canvas on her bedroom wall opposite the door that's 5 foot by 5 foot of some flowers. Tells me that sometimes she wakes up and it's hanging upside down. Gives me that look like she wants to know if I think she's cracking up. Shows me spooky cupboard and hallway. Nothing in it except an old electric fire. What does that even mean, like old wires? Doesn't seem in keeping with the modern aesthetic. Rents the place off to some guy, and the fire was his mother's who lived here. Huh? Rents the place off to some guy, and the fire was his mother's who lived here before the girl did until she died there.
What?
Told her she can throw it away if she wants, though. Ask why she hasn't thrown it away. Says she's scared to in case the old woman haunts her. Night goes on and nothing happens. She goes for a smoke out back. Hope Babby doesn't start crying because I don't know what to do. Babby insta-crying on baby monitor. So you do know how to spell baby. Get up to go check because I'm just winging it. Babby is sound asleep. Turn to leave and this toy thing starts playing on its own. Go back to the living room and Babby isn't crying on monitor. Girl comes back. Babby insta-crying. She goes to see him. Before she leaves the room, can clearly hear someone shushing him. It's probably just picking up someone else's signal. Hear girl talking to him once she enters, and there definitely didn't seem like any cross signal. He seems fine. Little later, and it's time for bed. Go full stupid and blow my big chance. End up sleeping on sofa. Wake up at 3 a.m. Room is pitch black. Feel fucking terrified. See a white ball of light just hovering in the hallway through the ajar door. Gets bigger and moves towards front door. Suddenly darkness. Lie awake until 6 a.m. when girl gets up to tend to Babby. Make excuses and leave. Walk past her room. Double back. Canvas is hanging upside down. Never go there again. That was stupid. What the hell does that even mean with the fire? What does that even mean? Like, did he just write the wrong word or something? Rents the place off to some guy and the fire was his mother's. What does that mean? Whatever. Whoever wrote this is a loser. Sorry if you're listening. No, I'm gonna cut that out. Hey X, this literally just happened. Not in any way paranormal, but still brick shitting to me. Live in quintessential sitcom-esque suburban neighborhood. Cloudy, foggy, wet evening when sun is still up but is about to set. Warm enough to leave the window to my house open. I'm watching random shit on TV. At some point, hear weird as fuck hissing sound coming from outside. Slight nope, but continue watching TV. About 30 seconds later, I hear it again, closer and more clearly. Seems to be coming right out of the sky. Elevated nope, but gather the fortitude to go outside and look around. Inspect area around front yard, but don't see anything. Hear hissing a third time. Look behind house. Giant fucking red leering face floating in the sky in the woods behind my house. Has huge, neatly arranged teeth forming a wicked smile and slanted eyes, overall resembling some tribal demon mask. Somehow illuminated from within and then suddenly goes dark, left with dark roundish thing bigger than a house floating in the sky. At this point, my legs are trembling from the shock and I can barely stand. After about 10 seconds of utter disbelief, it hits me that what I'm looking at is just a low-flying hot air balloon. My face when some asshole in a fiendishly detailed hot air balloon is taking the time to fly barely 300 feet up just to fuck with people who may happen to spot him. The hissing sound I was hearing was just the guy using his gas burner, which also illuminates the balloon from within. Promptly overcome the urge to cuss out the asshole, but decide instead to just call the cops on him. I'm pretty sure flying that low was illegal as shit. After I called them, I never heard anything about this again, and the balloon cleared the neighborhood completely. Pace around my yard a bit, and then go back inside. This just happened barely an hour ago. If they catch the guy and report about it in the local news, I will update. I still can't believe I fell for this. Oh, you got owned, son! It's actually funny. Like, that's actually a good prank. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed some of these stories. A few of them are some of my classic favorites. I try to sprinkle in a couple of my personal favorites into every one of these videos. And, you know, a couple of these weren't so good, but such is the nature of the 4chan X post. So, thank you for watching. I will see you very soon. Bye.